Let us practice some more examples on classification of an angle as right angle, straight angle, acute, obtuse, or reflex angle. And let's begin with this diagram. If it's a straight line, like this, and you have another, let's say it's a ray. So if it's a line, if it is a ray, it's intersecting here at this point. So if someone asks you that between this line and this ray, it's intersecting here, what is this angle? Is it acute, obtuse, right, straight, or what? And surely it's not going to be a right angle, because we know that in order for any angle to be right, we know that it should make a perfect L, as we discussed in these examples. In this example. So for those of you who haven't watched the previous videos, then please go to the playlist and watch those videos so that you can have better understanding of this video. In order for this angle to be a right angle, this should have been a perfect L. So if this particular ray would have been oriented like this, in this direction, then surely this would have been a right angle, that is 90 degree. But since it's oriented in this direction, surely this angle will be smaller than this one, and it's an acute angle. And in any such cases where you are given a straight line and another line is intersecting you and intersecting that line, and if one angle is acute, then the next angle that will be formed with the other portion of this line and this ray will be an obtuse angle. And if you're wondering why, then we know that for any angle to be an obtuse angle, it should be greater than 90 degree, but should be less than 180 degree. Of course, this angle is greater than 90 degree because in order for this angle to be a 90 degree, this should have been like this. This ray, if it would have been projected like this, then this angle would be 90 degree. But since it's oriented in this direction, therefore surely this angle that is being made by this ray and this portion of this line is greater than 90 degree. It's greater than this angle, but it's less than this whole straight angle, right? This portion is actually smaller than this one. So this obtuse angle plus this acute angle, this obtuse plus this acute will make this complete straight angle. So this angle between this portion of the line and this ray, this is actually obtuse angle. So let's take some letters of the English alphabet. Let's start with A. If this is A, then what is this angle? Now surely this angle is an acute angle, similar to what we have discussed just now. Some moments earlier we discussed about how we'll tell that whether an angle is acute or obtuse. So this is an acute angle. What about this angle? So you can consider, you can take out this portion out of this A and it will be something like this. And you are being asked for this angle. Now, clearly, if this particular portion of the line segment would have been oriented like this, if this was oriented like this would have made a 90-degree between this and this. But since it's actually going in this, it's oriented in this direction, it's making this particular angle, and surely this angle is smaller than this right angle, right? This is right angle which would have been formed if had this line segment would have been oriented like this, but this is the real angle. So this is an acute angle, is smaller than a right angle. Okay, what about this angle? Now surely we know that if this is the condition where, I'm sorry, it's too much of if this is an acute, then surely this will be an obtuse. So if this is an acute, this will be an obtuse angle, right? So this angle is an obtuse angle. What about this angle? This angle is actually straight angle. Why? It is a 180 degree. We know that if this is the condition, then this angle is actually 180 degree, similar to what we had discussed in the case of clock. If your odd hand was here, and if it comes at this position, then this angle is 180 degree, right? Similarly, what about this one? So if you look at this portion of A, then you can take out this portion and draw it like this, and this line, right? You are being asked for this angle. Surely if this portion of the line segment would have been oriented like this, had it been oriented like this, then this would be a right angle, but the real angle is this, because the line segment is actually oriented in this direction. Therefore this angle is surely smaller than this right angle, and it's an acute angle. And if you consider this angle, the one being made by this line segment and this line segment, then surely we know that what we discussed here, that if it is an acute angle, and this whole will surely be a straight angle. So if it's completely a straight angle, and this portion is actually, let me remove this so that it doesn't create any confusion. So if it's a straight angle and one of this angle is acute angle, then another angle will be an obtuse angle. So this angle will be an obtuse angle, right? So this is straight angle, this is an obtuse angle, and this is an acute angle. What can we take next? Let's take M. So this is our M. What is this angle? This is an acute angle. Why? Because if you make it a perfect L, then this would be a 90 degree, but this ray is actually oriented in this direction and it's making lesser angle than a 90 degree. Therefore this is an acute angle. What about this? It's also an acute angle, similar to this one. It's also an acute angle. Okay, so these two are acute angle. What next? Next can be, what about this angle? Then if you remember, we have discussed the same thing in our previous video. So I'm not going to explain you how. To understand how, you have to watch this video because it will take time. This is an acute angle, therefore this will be a reflex angle. Because for any angle to be a reflex angle, it should be greater than 180 degree, but should be less than 360 degree. Of course, this angle, that's outer angle between this line segment, is greater than 180 degree, because 180 degree will be, this angle will be 180, and this is, greater than this, it's less than 360, therefore this is a reflex angle. Similarly, we can say that the angle between this angle and this angle will be a reflex angle. So why not try for X, for Y, for Z, or for even W. Just take it as a homework and try for this. Try to find this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. It will be, you will understand better, how to tell whether an angle is acute or obtuse. So I'll repeat again to better understand what we have discussed here. You first watch this video and this video so that you can have better understanding of what we have discussed here.